Hello and welcome to Big Bandit Gaming. I'm your host Troy, and today we have Izayah, Colton, and Josh. How dare you interrupt me, Izayah? How dare you?
I'm sorry.
I know I broke the plan. I just went for it, but have some decency, sir. All right, how you guys doing?
We're doing great.
You're surviving this.
You don't know.
Don't speak for me. You guys all surviving the global heat wave?
It's 107 degrees, so yeah.
I mean, I'm trying. I work outside, so it's a little hard to, but
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, Reliance telling me, conserve on energy, or we're gonna charge you out the nose. So that's good.
Oh God, that's no fun. I live out here in the desert, so it's as hot as it should be, and we're very prepared for it to be as hot as it should be, so I feel kind of bad, but yeah.
I feel bad for Europe right now. I mean, they don't have freaking AC over there for the most part, and they're about to get like 100-degree weather.
Yeah, it's about to be like one of the hottest places on the planet.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
That's wow.
Yeah, so we got it okay.
Yeah, I'm trying not to complain too much. It's just I heard that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But it's been a few weeks since we last met up. I'm trying to remember. Oh, no. We did our E3 trailer show. So that was fun. Today, just throw it out there. Today is back to just our normal audio podcast. So you won't be missing out on anything. But thank you for the people that did subscribe. And just a little PSA out there. It's all in our link tree, but we just started a little Patreon, up to $5 or $10. And what it will get you is, if you, on either tier, it'll give you access to our community channel in our Discord. So you can interact with us, and we'll be posting in there and putting, if we're deciding a group, if we're trying to tie break like one of our games we're going to be playing for our community play, then that would be a good place for you to break up the tie, things like that. So yeah, check that out. All right, guys. So we're just going to jump right in because it's been 2 months since we talked about any of the games we've been playing.
Yeah, playing a lot. Do a lot of gaming, yeah. Yeah, I feel like, it's weird because it's the middle of summer, so it's there's not a lot being released, but after 2 months, you come back and you're like, oh, this could be our entire show. So let's change plans here, and let's talk about the games we're playing. Let's do this. All right, so let's just jump right in. First on our list here is Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. And a question: how many of you guys played the original Cuphead? Me.
I think you handed me the controller one time.
Oh, okay.
I think the difficulty shot me back in my chair a couple paces, so I just had to. I gave you the controller back. I said I'm not ready for this, so I played maybe 30 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings up, you bring up a good point. What I like about the Delicious Last Course is it's not a completely separate DLC. It actually integrates into the main game, and it doesn't take you too long to get to it, right, Izayah?
Right. So the way it works is that you need to at least finish one of the Chalice's I think like the quest where you get the supers, Those cemeteries. Yeah, you finish one of those, and I think you just finish one of the aisles, and you just get access to it. I read the interviews with a studio MDHR about how to access the DLC. You don't have to beat the game. That's the biggest takeaway. You don't have to beat the game.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. And the thing that I like about this new DLC is you get to play as Miss Chalice, and you trade off. You can't equip any of the what are they called? The
charms.
Relics.
The charms. You can't do like the easy parry or the smoke bomb or more health. You just get Miss Chalice, which honestly is perfectly enough.
Well, Miss Chalice has a double jump for one and a dodge with iframes automatically. And instead of doing this little parry slap you have to do in the original game, which is kind of the biggest learning curve in Cuphead, she can dash into it and it auto parries these little like pink things that like fill your super. So she's she makes some bosses easier and some it's probably still easier to use Cuphead or Mugman. But the biggest thing with difficulty is you get new items with this DLC, and it made the game dirt easy for me. For someone who blood, sweat, and tears through that original game to the end. There's so we talked about like parrying. I have an item right now where every time you parry something in a boss, if you parry like your first item, it'll give you a health back. You parry 3 times, it'll give you another heart, and if you parry 5 times, it'll give you another. So you can like have 6 hits in like one boss run, which just makes the game so much more manageable, and that carries into the main game.
Instead of your normal what, like how many times did you get?
3.
It was a 3. Okay.
Yeah, and I Miss Chalice get 4.
Yeah, Miss Chalice gives you 4 too. So I think they made it. The bosses. You know, they didn't like change I think there is an easy mode now though too, right? There's regular mode and easy on every boss.
Yeah, for the base game there is easy, regular, and then there is expert.
Yeah, so there's a lot more difficulty options in the game now, and it's just so worth it if the difficulty ever scared you off, because there's, you know, it's just, you really have to appreciate how that game looks and how the boss cycles go. It's kind of like a Souls game in that way, where you're like, oh, I don't know what this boss does, but I can't wait to find out, sort of thing.
Yeah,
because it looks amazing. And this in an interview, like Izayah was saying, they said in this DLC, how many bosses are there?
There are about I think 5 main super bosses, like
and then those side ones.
Yeah, those 2 side ones. Yeah.
Pretty much they have more frames of animation in those 5 bosses than they did in the entire base game.
Which is beautiful.
those bosses look incredible. So yeah, I had a really good time with that. And I know me and Izayah beat it, and there's this cool little secret boss at the end too that has like a really cool look.
Real cool.
And actually that secret boss, I didn't look up like what the mechanic was, and it took me maybe about 4 or 5 deaths till I was like, oh, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
At first I was just like, what is going on? I'm just getting destroyed.
Like floored. Like there's like this like lightning cloud. There's waves coming at you, like little circle like patterns, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And everything's disappearing, reappearing.
Slight spoiler. So if you can skip like 15 seconds ahead on your little podcast device starting now. Yeah. But the trick was with that boss that any projectiles that come at you, if you're facing them, they turn, they have like substance. And if you turn away from them, then they won't hurt you.
Right.
So there's like screens. Cool. Yeah, there's like screen sweeping attacks. And I was like, I have no idea how to dodge this. Like, I'm trying to dodge through it, or I thought maybe you had to use Miss Chalice to dodge through it, which you could, I guess.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, but once I figured it out, I was like, oh, that's a really crazy. And the boss in the back is like a claymation thing. It's not even like. It's like a claymation skull. It's not even like the 2D hand-drawn animation. So yeah, It's really, really cool.
Even cooler is that the current battlefield you're on is actually being held up by the hands.
Yeah, the skeleton hands stuff. But yeah. just a really good send-off to like a really awesome game. And it hit right when the Netflix show is taking off too, which I've heard is really good.
They held off the second season, or like the rest of the show, because of like the DLC, I believe.
Yeah, so they're just really hitting in all cylinders, and I feel like Cuphead is bigger than ever, which is weird because I feel like it's like one of those games that has outgrown the game itself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In the same way, like Undertale or something like that has. You know?
Yeah. But question: who did you play as majority of the DLC? Because I went full on Miss Chalice the entire way.
I did the first couple of bosses with Miss Chalice, and then I did the floating castle. I did all of those with Miss Chalice, and then after that I switched back to Mugman. So there was one boss where I kept getting hit because I was double jumping, and the Mugman still has a higher jump, so you don't need to double jump like you do with Miss Chalice. So yeah. Yeah, but just still like awesome game. It's pretty much I can recommend it to everyone now because there's so many difficulty tweaks through items and through just like straight up difficulty tweakers and stuff. So yeah, just a legendarily good game now. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I like to get my own word with like this DLC and how like it was genuinely a blast. It's just like back to back fun, and like with like what you said, like more frames in the entire game with these animations. They look gorgeous. They're gonna give you a good smile, bro. Like I'm telling you, y'all have to try out this game. Like I'm serious.
Yeah, they made one of the best looking games of all time look even better, which is crazy. And it'll run on like anything. Like you can just play that on the Switch and it, won't skip a beat. So, all right, cool. I'm actually going to skip what my list is in front of you. And let's go to, I want to hear about Tunic. Because originally I think I when it first came out, I was trying to explain what made Tunic special. And that's kind of a hard thing to do unless you played it and have your aha moment with it. So I don't know how far... Josh or Colton, how far you guys have gotten it, but I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I feel like I'm about halfway through the game. I think Colton might be done with it. Is that right?
Yeah, I finished it about 2 weeks. I finished it like 2 days before that last.
Oh wow, I never finished it, so talk to me about it.
Well, how do I say this? So the game was great. I loved every second of it, except maybe the last 10% of it, and maybe not even that. Maybe the last 5%. And I wouldn't say I didn't love it either. I just I was really proud of myself. I didn't look anything up about that game because I kept running into roadblocks, and I was like, I'm not going to look it up. I feel like if I look around, I can find out what to do. And there were a couple of times, like there's probably 3 hours of that game just me walking around trying to find out what to do. And that was probably the most frustrating part of the game.
Yeah.
It's just because I ended up wasting so much time. I kept going back to sections that I know I've checked before, but I'm like, maybe there's a hidden passage behind a tree that you have to like, randomly stumble across. So, but I did make it through.
I was just going to say I spent about 30 minutes earlier today just being lost. I have no idea where I'm going next.
Yeah, that's
I can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating part of the game. But I did make it through, like I said, 9, and even it might be 95% of the game without looking anything up. That last 5%, it was so frustrating. I think I spent an hour and a half in the game walking around. I hit every corner of every map, and of course I didn't hit every corner because I ended up having to look it up, and I was like, oh, I have to do that. There's no way I would have known that. There's no way I would have looked at or found that out by myself. So I had to look it up. I got to close to the end of the game, and then it kind of drops you into like a combat area, and it is so incredibly hard that I couldn't even turn it down to easy to beat it. I turned on like invincibility mode just to get past that section because it was so it after an hour, maybe about an hour of trying that one combat arena thing over and over again, I couldn't do it. So I had to turn on invincibility mode to get through that area. And then once I got through that area, I had to keep looking up what to do, like that last 5% of the game. Like every step was so convoluted to me. But I did end up beating it. And I came out of it very happy with the game. I really liked it, and I loved almost every minute of that game. So I liked it way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah. Awesome. I didn't like it when I first started. I think I talked about it on the podcast. I played a little bit on the PC, just like the first area, and I got the sword. And then I quit because I was so frustrated with my laptop, basically, not the game. My laptop just could barely run it, so the frame rate was terrible, and mouse and keyboard controls were just awful. I do not recommend using a mouse and keyboard. So now that I'm playing on the Xbox, I'm having so much fun. This is one of the best games I've played in a while. Really threw me off. One thing that I had no clue of was how much it's taking, not just from Zelda, like everybody says, but it's taking from Dark Souls a lot more than I expected.
That's one of the big things I took away from it. I was going in thinking, I was thinking Legend of Zelda when I going into it, but I kept thinking Dark Souls after I started playing it.
Yeah. I like how interesting the world is. I like the way they use the leveling system. It's just a bit different. Like it's item based instead of just strictly stats, which I'm enjoying a lot.
I want to know what the moment was for you guys when you're like, oh, that's what this game is doing, and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Do I? I mean,
maybe not.
I mean, I think I already heard so much about the like booklet, the guide that you have in game.
That's what I'm talking about.
So it didn't really. That's not what got me. I think it's like I actually was kind of down on that for the beginning. I was like, okay, it's a gimmick, whatever. But once it started, I guess what you're saying is like once it started clicking, where I was like, oh, there's this little thing that I've had this page for about 2 hours, and I didn't realize
gave you the
on this
information you needed.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I was falling in love with the game even before that moment. I was like, okay, this game it's so smooth. The combat's great. Exploration is very reminiscent of old school Zelda, but it has just enough extra that I think it stands on its own above any Zelda-like.
Great soundtrack too. I think I said that last time. Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm glad you guys got your hands on it and was able to dig in, because I feel like that's just one of those. There's not a lot of games that you play where you start playing and you're like, oh, I was not expecting any of this. You know, it's not like a known value.
Yeah, and I first the length of the game really threw me off. Like I really thought it was going to be like a 7 or 8 hour game, like max. But I kept finding more and more areas. Like that game is so big. There's so many areas in that game, and that really surprised me.
Yeah. And it's weird because Death's Door, I feel like, has been really overtaken by Tunic. Those two games came out just close enough, and Death Door plays it a little more straight. Like Death Door is what you guys were talking about, where you're like, oh, I was expecting just like a cool looking Zelda with, you know, some neat puzzles. But I think Tunic definitely takes it that step further.
I'm actually so excited to play Death's Door. I haven't played it yet, but that's on my to-do list.
Yeah, go for it. And you might, I don't know. I think I still enjoyed Death's Door more, but that's just because I'm not like Colton. I will get, if I don't know what to do, I'm just like, I'm wasting my time.
Well, yeah, he's big into Outer Wilds, and that game frustrated me from
exactly.
Love Outer Wilds.
I know people. Yeah, I know plenty of people that are like, that's probably like one of my top 3 games ever. Like that was Giant Bomb's Game of the Year and everything, and I was like, I can't. I tried so hard.
I don't know. I really like that game, and like how how you don't, it doesn't make sense to you at first, and you like kind of like start piecing everything together yourself, and it's like that feels so rewarding.
And I feel like Fez really early on last generation really started. Well, that was back on the 360. Fez was the first one of those games. We were just like, oh, there's this goes like a layer deeper than you thought. And
I don't care about that
hours
layer.
In.
That layer it meant nothing to me. I loved that game before I found out about that layer, and I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna stop here. I'm not gonna dig any deeper.
Yeah, The Witness has something like that too, where once you figure out something's going on, you're like, what?
These are all top tier games.
Like I said, these are the puzzle games that I usually do dip into, other than just, you know, it's what I prefer. But all right, cool. So that was Tunic, and now let's jump into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. And I believe I'm the only. Josh, you said you played a single level, but
yes, and I had fun, but it was too hard because I set the difficulty too hard. I will not learn my lesson.
Yes. It especially playing by yourself. I played the hard mode with like 8 people, and that was kind of a fun nightmare. But but yeah. So this is by .emu. This is the people that did Streets of Rage 4, which is like maybe is one of the best, is the best beat 'em up of all time I've played. It's amazing. So I knew coming in Streets of Rage 4 is awesome. Also on Game Pass, I think. But so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of a callback to the older teenage like Konami beat 'em ups, but it has a lot more depth because those games, the Turtles all kind of had like the same like run animations. The only thing that was really different was maybe their like weapon range, like everyone just wanted to pick Donatello because of the stick. But
the purple.
Yeah, I mean, this game was in development forever, and it got delayed, and you can just see why, because they just put so much time, personality, and like all the artwork and the enemies. Like in that first level, like all the enemies are just doing like weird, wacky things when you walk up. The music is done by the same guy that did Sonic Mania, it's really awesome. There's like vocal tracks and
he looks awesome.
Oh yeah. So there, so it's not too long. You can probably beat it in a few hours, but it's just so tightly paced. It just really doesn't waste your time. What I figured out too is it's a lot deeper than you would think, which is probably why Josh hit that difficulty curve. Cause I think they want you to play on hard once you can figure out, there's like different moves you can do.
It definitely pushed me immediately to be like, oh, okay, I need to like not just like spam X.
Yeah. The thing I like about it is it's not like those old school beat 'em ups like with arcades where it's unfair and it just wants you to put more quarters in, like it gives you things you can't dodge and the enemies just move so fast. Like you have a lot of mobility. You literally have a dodge button that has like iframes. So you can really strategize and get good at the game. I think there's literally achievements that are like, beat this level without getting hit once. And, if you know what you're doing, that's actually feasible, which in those games, that's like, the older ones, that's impossible. So yeah, there is on the story mode, there's like a slight level up system. So that was the only thing I don't know if I loved is it encourages you just to pick one character and stick with it because they all have their own bars. So it gives you like maybe an extra life or an extra bar for your super. So it kind of, I still experimented with everyone just for one level, but at the end of the day, I just stuck with like Raphael just because I just needed to level up one character to get through. So it was starting to get difficult. But there's the story mode. There's like a straight up arcade mode where you can just jump in with other players, up to 8 players, which is really cool. I think it's the 4 Turtles. It's April O'Neil, Splinter, and who else? And then and Casey Jones. So 8 characters on Game Pass. Just really, really good time. Not as deep, and I wouldn't say as good as Streets of Rage 4, but I don't think it needs to be. I think it was made to be a little more casual. And I just saw like a headline the other day that it hit 1 million sales. So. And that's not including Game Pass. So obviously they made the right move, Oh,
yeah.
Because this could have easily been just like a cash grab, like a lot of other things are like this, but they really put time into it or just like a nostalgia grab, So
yeah,
it was really good time and good to see they didn't just, make a lazy old beat 'em up.
No, they're not handling the collection that's coming, right?
No, I don't think so. I think that's put together by, that might be like M2 or something doing that. So hopefully it's M2 because they do those collections really well. But no.
Yeah.
And that collection looks pretty good too. It looks comprehensive, but how
many of those can you play?
Exactly. I was going to say, I always kind of regret going back to those beat 'em ups outside of an arcade setting because you just see you get to like see how cheap it is actually, and it just kind of when you're not slamming buttons and after eating like a whole pizza, it just doesn't hit the same. Because they re-released like the Simpsons one on PS3 and I was so pumped because I'd played that like 1,000 times and then I beat it like in an hour and a half and I was like, oh. I
played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, I'm good.
It's just not the same. So, But that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's still on Game Pass, but it's on everything. So it's on Switch and Xbox or PS4. So, good time. All right. And let's move on to Diablo. What's Diablo Immortal on the phones? And Colton, you've been playing that?
I have. I downloaded it when it came out, not really knowing how I was going to like it. And it turns out I liked it a lot. So I think the first 3.5 weeks when it came out, I got on every day. Like spare time at work normally is when I did it, but even at home, I'd hop on and play like 30 minutes at home or something. I liked it so much that after that first week, I bought the $5 battle pass that came with it, even though it was only going to be maybe like a month and a half long battle pass. I was like, I'm getting on, every day. I'm earning enough stuff where I'm earning quite a bit of stuff on the free, tier of the battle pass. But I mean, I might as well just, I could unlock all this other gear and all this stuff to upgrade my gear if I just spend the $5. And at that point, I've probably put maybe 10 hours into it. So I figured I might as well just go ahead and get the battle pass because I liked it so much. I've slowed down on it a lot, but I don't think that's due to the game. I think work has really picked up. And since that was the main place I was playing it, that's the only reason why I've kind of slowed down a little bit on playing it. But I really like it. And it's my first Diablo game, so I don't know if it says anything, but I've
ever since you would like 3 a lot.
Yeah, and I know you've said that before, and looking back at like trailers and videos of Diablo 3, it is piquing my interest a lot more than it did before the mobile game came out.
Yeah, and that's kind of what because I played maybe a few hours of it too, and it just made me really want to get the Switch version of Diablo 3, because it is very much that. I think the one big difference is it's kind of like a semi MMO. So you see other players like walking around and doing missions, and that's not something Diablo 3 does. It more just, you just kind of spawn in with groups of 4, kind of like Borderlands style. So I think the coolest thing about Diablo Immortal for me was just seeing the implementation of all that, and just like seeing what they could do with 4.
Oh yeah.
Diablo Immortal just made me excited. Like it made me want to go back to 3, and it makes me very excited for 4. So yeah. And I know there's like a whole monetization thing, and if you played enough Colton, maybe you would have ran into that, but from the sounds of it,
I know people have been complaining about it like, crazy since the game came out. I haven't really run into anything yet. Like I've just been like, especially after my $5 battle pass thing, I haven't wanted for anything. Like I am appropriately leveled and appropriately geared for where I am in the story. Like I feel like I don't need anything. So maybe people, I haven't really looked too much into the whole complaints about the monetization. So I don't know if people complaining about it are really far into the game, and maybe that's when you hit the wall. I'm not sure. But where I'm at right now, I haven't really run into that issue. So far, but I will say I was really surprised with how good the game looked. Like just certain like animations, just playing the game, and a lot of the cutscenes are like, I feel like they're straight up like a cutscene I would expect on my PS4.
Oh yeah, and that's really been Blizzard's MO for forever. Is they put money into those cutscenes.
If I played more of their games, it probably wouldn't have been as surprising to me. But since I don't, I was pleasantly surprised with how good everything looked in the game.
Yeah, and for Diablo 4 is definitely one of my most like anticipated games. Like that's a game I'm going to play like hopefully with some of you guys and Sam, and it just looks like a fun game that we could jump in and out of. Because that was one thing Diablo 3 did really well, is it didn't matter how over leveled or where you were in the stories. It was always really good about, leveling the numbers and everything. So, so it's just a really good game to do all that. All right, cool. So I'm going to go move on to Point B. And that is how you say that, Point B. So Point B is a Netflix phone game. So
goofy name,
one of
bro.
those. Yeah. And it is by the Downwell developer. And if you don't remember what Downwell is, it was a game where you were endlessly falling. And the goal of the game really was to just like never land. So as you were falling, you had opportunities to like jump on enemies and chain your jump all the way down. And you could shoot and that'd kind of like float you. And the cool thing I remember about Point B was I had it on the Vita, and you could do a thing where you could hit a setting and you would turn your Vita to the like instead of the side to vertically, and it gave you a lot more like screen real estate.
I forgot they did that.
Yeah, so and that's really what Point B is. It's like it's one of those few games where I'm like, I don't think I'd want to play this on anything else but my phone. Like it's just perfect like that. So Point B kind of does what Downwell does, but better, and it does it. You're not falling; you're always climbing. And so the point of the game is you have this monster that's kind of chasing you up the screen, and there's fruits that you're chaining, like you're jumping up into, and to like appease the monster under you, it'll say, hey, you need like 2 strawberries and 1 orange, and you have 4 jumps to collect all that, and you can like bounce off the sides, bounce off enemies to give yourself extra jumps, and it's just one of those games where like the minute you like die, you're like, okay, I can do better, I'll go again. And the one thing it does a lot better than Downwell is it has a really good progression system. So you're always leveling up, and leveling up gives you like more jumps before you have to land, which really helps you on like the later missions. And it'll also you collect these little beads in the level that you can take to like a vending machine, and that's the thing that gives you upgrades. So it'll be like some of the upgrades will be like, okay, your jumps are more powerful, so you go further per jump, or it gets even weirder. It's like if you bounce off a wall, you suck in all the fruits like a vacuum, so you don't need to aim as far as, as accurately as you need to. There's also like puzzle levels, so it's just like it's really deep and there's a lot to it. It looks amazing. It's like super charming and colorful. And like I said, if you have a Netflix subscription, it's free and it's awesome. And I just told Colton before this that Netflix got exclusive rights to Into the Breach on phones too. So
which I can't wait for. That's gonna be my new favorite mobile game.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna get fired.
Good. It sounds like Netflix is making moves though. Like you don't get exclusive rights to Into the Breach without knowing exactly what you're doing, Like there's at least someone there that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the Netflix games I've gotten so far. They've gotten some pretty good games. Of course, there's a lot I haven't touched, so it's very likely that most of them are bad. But the ones I've tried so far have been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Shatter, Point B, and Into the Breach are like the 3 that jump out. But for something you're not paying any extra for, it's a good deal.
Is that not coming to anything else? Just phones?
Into the Breach?
No, sorry, Point B.
Just phones for now. But like I was saying earlier, it just works so well with the touchscine that I don't know if you'd want to play it with a controller. I don't think it would work.
I don't want to get Netflix.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate thing. Is you need to get it through Netflix.
How are you gonna watch Better Call Saul, Josh?
I don't want to watch Better Call Saul. This.
There are ways. There's ways.
It's like a pet show. Come on, Josh.
Hey, we are not a Netflix shaming podcast, okay?
Josh, I am an individual.
He's like, I have Hulu. I am a Hulu.
He doesn't even have Hulu.
I have nothing. Absolutely nothing.
He is right now in the middle of a desert with a laptop and a microphone and a hotspot.
Not in the desert. That was a couple years ago.
And Peacock.
Yeah.
Peacock. You wish, yeah. All right, but yeah, that's Point B. Really, check it out. It's awesome. It's been a while since I've gone back into mobile games, but Apple Arcade and the Netflix stuff, there's been quite a few things I was like, wow, that was really great.
Hey Troy,
what's up?
Did you know they have a game called Skate City on the Apple Arcade? That's a pretty cool game.
I do. I've seen that.
Yeah, Colton, you too.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. Next we have Loot River, and I've not played Loot River, so
why not?
You guys.
What is it?
Because I hate loot.
It's a game about loot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
on
a
a river.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's actually a surprising lack of loot for the name.
I've heard
River.
this.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that.
For the first 10, 20 minutes, I didn't even know I could break open barrels and boxes to get gold. So I was just
I did that. I did that immediately.
Well, lucky you.
Mm-hmm.
Though it doesn't matter if you don't know, Loot River is like a roguelite. And so you get the gold and then you die and it doesn't matter. So it's okay that I missed all the gold in the beginning because I was dead in the first 10 minutes anyway.
That's true.
What do you think, Colton?
However, I mean, so I haven't played a whole lot of roguelite games. I can't even think of any right now, but I know I've played a couple. I know they could all fit on one hand though, if I count them. So I haven't played a whole lot. No, I have not played Hades.
Oh, darn. Okay, go on.
So I didn't know that if I would like that aspect of the game, and I'm still not sure I do. But I think the movement of the game I really enjoy. I love moving the little platforms on the river because you have combat and then there's also like a puzzle element involved. You're like, oh, I need to get to that platform over there, but there's pieces I can't move in the way, so I need to, it becomes like a sliding puzzle,
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's enemies everywhere, so you're like, okay, if I move this, to try to solve the sliding puzzle, I'm going to have to fight those 20 enemies over there on that big rectangle or that big Tetris L-shaped block.
And sometimes you're able to kind of lure and kite enemies one at a time onto your little piece that you're sliding on, which can be really helpful to get some of the bigger enemies away from each other, so you don't just get slammed by all of them at once.
Yeah, and that's another really cool part I liked about it. It lets you. It kind of gives you agency on how you want to fight the enemies. It's not like a lot of games where it's like, all right, if you walk in this room, you're gonna have to fight these 20 enemies. You can kind of pace yourself and connect your platform with theirs, have maybe one or two walk on your platform and then move your platform away, so you can kind of do the combat in bite-sized segments instead of all at once.
So do you feel like it goes past just being a gimmick? Because I'm struggling with that a little bit. I don't know if it justifies the sliding puzzle overall.
I don't know yet. I only played one sitting of it so far, but it was like an hour and 45 minutes. So I played more than I thought I would that night because I was having a good time with it. I have hit a wall though. I keep running into this one boss and I will try my hardest and I can maybe get a fourth of the boss's health down before it kills me. So I would have played more that night if I didn't keep running into that wall.
Is it the second area boss that you're talking about?
Yes, yeah. That first one, I think I died maybe twice, but
I don't remember the first one.
What's the progression like after you die? Do you get to keep any of your
that's a great question.
Oh yeah. You have what do you call it? Well, no, I mean, do you have
you don't keep anything. You can.
No, you keep the blue things, right? It's
yeah. There's a currency that you collect in each run, and you can spend it on. Basically, it reminds me of Dead Cells. You spend it on ways to have certain weapons randomly given to you at the beginning, so you're kind of upgrading your starting gear.
Got it. Okay.
And then unlocking. I think you can unlock magic after you meet a certain character. And things like that.
Yeah. A game I didn't put on here is Rogue Legacy 2. And it's a thing where I know that game is great. It controls great. It's super deep. I mean, it's amazing, but I don't roguelites, I'm really just hoping when I see a game like that, I'm like, please be linear. Please someone have designed this.
And I'm saying from what I'm hearing, this is like a roguelike, right, Josh and Colton?
Straight up, yeah.
Which is weird because the name is a little disingenuous. If I see Loot River, I'm like, okay, where's my purple armor? Let's
you think it's gonna be Diablo?
Just get the little river and loot and stuff, that's it, my little frog.
Yeah.
I wish there was a better progression. Maybe there is later on, but it's real. I've hit a wall with it where it's that second area, I'll just die way too much, and then I'm like, oh great, I go through the first area all over again. I think the biggest difference for me between that and a game like Dead Cells is Dead Cells, the areas were so tight. Like you didn't feel like you were staying there for too long. You learned how to get through them, how to kill certain enemies, and it just had that pace.
Oh, yeah,
I think
you could blast through those first few areas.
Yeah, I think Loot River is just missing that element, or maybe I'm just bad at it. It's possible. I take way too long in the first area.
From what I've heard, that's you guys are kind of having the same takeaways I've heard about it. You know, like one of my podcasts I listened to, the very first thing, they're like, for a game called Loot River, you'd think there'd be more loot. That was like their first intro to that game to me. And I was like, And I was like, I wonder, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to see if maybe they fixed it, because that was like months ago. But
there's not really. I mean, there is loot. I hardly consider gold loot anyway, because the way you use it is just not that interesting. The gold's for, I don't even remember what I buy for it, Colton. Is it like
it's those
like a merchant?
Yeah,
they sell like one item.
Yeah, it
like,
can be.
I don't want that.
It can be like, oh, you started out with the sword level 1, but then you might run across. It's like, hey, here's the sword level 4.
Oh yeah, sorry. Another thing, this game is also very Dark Souls inspired. They're just like, we're gonna use the RB right trigger system.
Yeah, that's right.
For the melee, and I'm like, why? Why did you do that? They also thought it'd be a good idea to use the stat system. So you're leveling up like your like vitality and your vigor or whatever it is, and like your defense, your endurance, all that crap. So and then you got strength and dexterity, right? So then you have to choose, okay, what weapons am I going to go for this run? Do I want to be a dex build? Do I want to be a strength build? So I'm like,
I
think those decisions aren't interesting in a smaller, like in bite sizes in a roguelite.
I think that is the least interesting way to rip off Dark Souls. Like there's games that do it right, like like Hollow Knight, where you're like, oh, they got the atmosphere and the labyrinthian like level design, and there's just so many things that the Souls games do. That no other games can barely touch. But
the stat system seems to work.
The stat system is not one of them.
Yeah, it works best with their games. Like, don't steal that part. That's theirs. Leave it there.
Yeah. And even the controls, like, I know, like, God of War more recently took the Souls controls there. But there are some games where I'm like, I feel like the face buttons are good enough for this game.
I like action games to have it on the face buttons.
I don't know. I really like it, God of War, on the shoulder buttons, personally.
I think what makes it okay in Dark Souls is because you can't interrupt your attacks. I don't feel like I need to feather the button.
Yeah.
So it's okay that it takes a little bit longer to press down on stuff. That's fine. Yeah.
I want to touch on something that go
yeah. Go
ahead. What's up, Izayah?
So when Colton, I was trying hard time trying to visualize this. I was like kind of trying like focusing. But when Colton said about like pacing yourself and like approaching combat and like moving stuff, you guys are being literal. You literally move like an object, like Tetris. Like a Tetris
I guess we didn't
piece.
Explain that well, yeah.
Like a little writing puzzle. Right?
Yeah, it's a little writing puzzle, which sounds awesome in concept. And from what Colton like talks about it does sound like fun though, how you pace yourself, how you approach things better, and like whatnot. But hearing about like this sort of like class system you have, like in the like you just kind of, is it random or you get to choose?
No, it's not a class system. It's like Dark Souls where you are assigning stats, like stat points on your sheet. So then you're creating a build as you play, but then you're not playing for very long.
Yeah, I see that. It's like 11 strength, vitality 10, dexterity 10.
It's a weird choice for a roguelike, I think.
Yeah, that's a weird choice because it goes by so fast. Like when I play Spunky, I'm not caring about my stats. I care about the items.
Spunky.
Well, there's a good way to do it too, because I think like Hades and Rogue Legacy 2 do those little stats well. But to me, it just sounds like that, like all the disparate parts, like there's cool stuff in the disparate parts, like the sliding puzzle, like sounds like a neat mechanic. Like the roguelike likeness of itself doesn't sound terrible, but it just seems like once it's all put together, it just sounds kind of confused.
Yeah, and also like with this core mechanic, like moving around, like your environment, you literally move around your environment to your advantage or disadvantage. I feel like this should be more of a focus than like just the stats thing. Because like this looks really cool, but it feels a little lost, a bit like kind of weird, kind of like a weird mix.
I mean, and I think like half the game I think is great. Like I like the combat and the moving the raft things. The whole roguelike and the progression I think is weird. But I feel like if they made the game like a linear game where you get to keep the stuff after you die, there's some really cool things. I think the game would be really nice to have. And there's like interesting things like you'll move one raft and connect it to a bunch of other rafts, but then right off the screen there's an enemy and it's like a wizard, and then he basically locks all the rafts together so you can't move any of them. So you're stuck on that.
That's cool.
You're stuck on that big island until you kill the wizard or whatever. So there's interesting stuff like that I think would be really cool if it was like a linear game, where it would keep me playing longer, I think.
I did want to mention the combat can be frustrating.
Right.
The pixel art that it uses is very good, but I don't think it lends itself well to the action. I think things get kind of blurred whenever you have all the enemies like all over you and you're trying to attack them and stuff and lock on to different enemies, which is not as straightforward as it might seem. And specifically around corners, I've just been like unfairly got around corners that shouldn't, like, they don't seem visibly passable, and an enemy will just like
especially those enemies with the spears that can like,
well, those are absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, the presentation looks awesome, like really, and this sounds like a cool game. But
it sounds like cool maybe I hope maybe they do a little more work on it. Maybe they have like an expansion, and they're like, and we reworked a lot of it,
Yeah, I'm looking at these reviews too. The reviews say mostly positive, but like they're saying the same thing you guys are saying. Like, hey, we like this game quite a bit, but like it needs a little more work.
I think everyone should try it. I just don't think it's a phenomenal game. That's all.
And it just sucks that it probably came out after after maybe 3 of the best roguelites ever. That's what I think of, like Hades and what'd you say earlier, Josh?
I said Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, Dead Cells, Hades, and Rogue Legacy 2. Like, that is really hard to follow up,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Very
all right.
So
let's move on. So Izayah, I heard you've been modding.
Oh, the devil's work.
I'm gonna call the cops.
We're surrounding you. Because of my PC, I've been modding quite a bit. Fun fact, I actually bought Sonic Mania again purely for Steam and to mod, despite having it for free on my Epic Games. But I'd like to talk about Left 4 Dead first, though. Left 4 Dead is like how old? Like more than a decade old. Probably a decade old. Old. And I still have a blast with this game. It has this basic premise of you for 4 players, either online or just a single player. You have to go through hordes of zombies, travel through this linear map, and you gotta make it to like this like area where, I need to give this guy Coca-Cola so I can get through this area, or I need to sound for alarm, defend myself, and get ready and move forward to the next like safe house. That is the loop of Left 4 Dead. You go to safe house like 2-3 times maybe, and you go to the end of the part where you do a concert and wait till like a helicopter to rescue, or you need to find like gas cans, scare about the entire mall and like pump it back up and like, all right, get out of here, while fending for yourselves and being careful not to dwindle too far with like being like scattered, because there's 4 of you, right? But hordes of zombies and whatnot. So you have to be kind of like smart with it. And like,
what did you do to the game, Izayah?
That is a basic game, and it's fun in itself. But with mods, it's even more fun. Nice. I have changed the characters, skins, sounds of this game entirely. My characters, I got Kermit the Frog. I got Knuckles from Sonic Boom.
Crash Bandicoot.
I do
Sounds
not.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I have Hatsune Miku. I have, oh my god, I have so many character mods. I have Ramathal Valentine. I have Doomfist as my charger, special zombie in the game, and with like Terry Crews voice lines going, "It's me, power like when he charges at you and when he dies, he goes, "Oh no!" And like when you like throw down a bomb, you just hear like the Vine sound effect of "Oh my god!"
Wow.
I got like weapon skins of like Hatsune Miku and like Splatoon. my axe is the Leviathan axe from God of War. Machete's a Kingdom Key from Kingdom Hearts. And like so on and so forth.
Are they all are all the mods cosmetic? Or is there any like gameplay tweak stuff?
I have not messed with the gameplay tweak stuff personally. There's the only thing I've really messed with is like the concert level in that game. That one has just like a different music. All that's mostly cosmetic, just with the sounds and like replacing character models and like skins.
Gotcha. All right. And what other game you been messing around with?
That and Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania we've replayed for Steam all the way through, even Encore, blast of a game. But what makes it even more of a blast is the comedically amazing mod, Hatsune Miku mod. I have had a blast. It remixes every zone with the tracks being merged with Hatsune Miku music and stylized as like Hatsune Miku stuff, even down to the story. When you start up a game with as like a new story with like this mod, you get a new cutscene with Hatsune Miku being transported into the world of Sonic Mania, and you get the little Sonic outfit for her, and you just like play it like normal.
I think just stop you right there. I think it's really ironic that someone modded Hatsune Miku into something, because I feel like she is just in everything. Yeah. Anyways, but you had to take it into your own hands this time. But
to bounce off what you just said, what's even funnier is that in 2015 there is a commercial of Domino's X Hatsune Miku collaboration. And that's an inside joke within the game. Studiopolis? No, it's Dominoopolis. Everything's Domino stylized. The vans, the TVs, the characters. Even Scott, the old president of Domino's, he's the boss. And Noid, the rabbit, he's there too. And when it transitions to the flying battery zone, it says, breaking Sonic Pirates anime. And it's a Crunchyroll sign in the top right corner. It is so silly, but so much fun to just like experience. Even the music remixed with Hatsune Miku music, it's like genuinely like great. That's gotten me into listening to Vocaloid more.
Yeah, nice. Is this all through the Steam Workshop?
Left 4 Dead has a built-in Steam Workshop that you can definitely scroll through like for a long time, find those mods. Sonic Mania, on the other hand, I went through Game Banana. Yeah, Game Banana has a dedicated like page for it. Go look it up. It's amazing. Oh, and one last thing. My drowning sound effect for Sonic Mania is a Keemstar yell, and I added the donkey like hey when you like get like thrown through the entire room of Hydrocity Zone. It's great. I love this game.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's what like mods are their best. It just gives like a second life to most games. And some games, you know, I feel like Bethesda games specifically get modded. Oh, yeah. Probably the most. Like GTA and Bethesda. And it kind of goes above what that original game was now. Like, I don't know anyone that would just play like Bethesda Skyrim at this point.
You know, with God of War,
I guess unless you're on a Switch.
you know, with God of War coming to Steam, someone already modded the character models to being like the Simpsons.
I can't tell you how many God of War mods I've seen on TikTok. Those are some of the funniest videos.
And like people like doing the voicing of them too.
All the models are like freaky looking and messed up.
I saw one where it was like the opening cinematic and he's like hugging the tree and then he cuts it down and then the boy walks in on screen for the first time, but it's just a perfect model of Kratos, just like down to like Atreus' size. So it's like a little tiny Kratos. It's so funny to me. Oh man.
I'm all for that. I know like when MGS5 came out, people were like, there's this weird dancing scene and they were putting in like character models from other games. It's pretty good. All right. Let's see. We're nearing the end of our list here, so let's move on. And Colton, tell me about Hitman, the trilogy.
Yeah. Oh man. So I love the Hitman games. I've always loved them.
He's lying.
You know, no, how dare you? So I was a little late on the first one. I think it must have been like a year and a half after it came out when I think they went on sale on PlayStation, so I got it. And I can't tell you how much I played that first one. I loved every second of it. I didn't realize how much I would like, a murder simulation. It's so fun to me. I like the detail they put in those games. How big each map is. How it doesn't look like it's ever going to be that big, and then whenever you get in there's so many layers to each map and so many things you can do,
like whole buildings. You're like, what?
And interactive. There's a courtyard, a backyard, like a downstairs, like to like a chefing room, kitchen.
I think my favorite thing about those games is like is anything you think to do, they thought of it already. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, will that work? Or can I kill someone like this? And the answer is usually yes, because they're like really good about getting in the mind of like their players and designing around it. And I feel like that's not an easy thing to do, Yeah,
like it's hard to be like this, like sort of like really like in depth with like you're thinking about developing a video game. Like, how far can we go with like?
It's just great design.
Map?
Those games are just like incredibly designed.
And I loved it. The second one came out, I got that, and I was able to play all of that. For some reason, I didn't beat that last level. I don't know why. I think I got stumped on it, and then I just forgot to go back to it. But anyways, Josh, he got the third one, and he did not like it so much that he gave it to me.
It was bad.
So it was bad in Josh's eyes. So I got it, and then finally when I was done with Tunic, that was my next thing on the list, is I wanted to play Hitman 3. And, of course, I beat it, and I liked it so much, and I remember the first game during the cutscenes, I watched them, and I tried to pay attention, but it didn't really grab me so much at first. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was unsaid that I didn't really get. But after playing the third one, and I actually really liked the story in between all the cutscenes and the story elements that you can get in the game too. Like, you pick up a document, and then, your handler, the lady, I forgot her name, even though I just played like all three games. She would talk to you and give you a little bit more context about, the lore and the story that's going on behind the scenes. And I liked it so much that I said, you know what? I don't really remember the story beats of 1 and 2. So after I played the third one, I just started, I went back to the first one and then playing the second one. And that's something I love about those games, is that every time you get one, they retroactively like give you the games that came before. Like whenever I got Hitman 2, it came with Hitman 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And now that I have Hitman 3, it comes with Hitman 1, Hitman 2, and Hitman 3. So that I really like that they do that. Because I don't think Hitman 1 and Hitman 2, I think I got them both physically. So I didn't think but I forgot they'd do that.
Yeah, they kind of combine it all into one thing.
So whenever I remembered that, I was like, oh great, I can go back and play those. And what I'm doing is I'm replaying every level about 4 times, because I'm really trying to go through and do all the mission stories, because it'll have, you start a map for the first time. There's somewhere between 8 and 13 to 14 mission stories that, you can go through. And it's basically like interesting ways that, you can kill your target. Either through accident or by happenstance, or you could just straight up murder them, but in a really interesting and funny way. So that's what I've been mainly doing, is because they're the mission stories, I think, are so well crafted. I'm trying to do as many of them as I can before I go on to the next level. Try to get as much as I can out of the game. And I've been really enjoying myself.
Do you end up like just trying to like challenging yourself, like, well, hey, what if I just try doing this instead of like doing this, or like switch up your loadouts, because I know you can like load out and like before you enter a mission.
So I think because right now I'm in the middle of 2, since I beat 3 and then I went back and beat 1, and I'm in the middle of 2 now. Whenever I get done with that, I'm gonna go back to probably my favorite levels of all 3 games. So I have like probably 2 in each game that I really like. I'll probably go back there, and since I did all the mission stories, I'm probably going to try to challenge myself a little bit. I've been playing on the normal difficulty. I think if you play on the hard difficulty, it doesn't give you any auto saves. You can't save scum, which I have done quite a bit in this game, which I'm not afraid to say it. I would like to play with a little bit harder difficulty. And I think it really ups the, everybody's awareness. Like on the normal difficulty, if you break open a door with the crowbar, anybody within like a 10-foot radius of you, like gets alerted by you and they're like, hey, what are you doing? I think on the hard difficulty, like if you do it, like I think everyone like on the floor of that building will be able to hear it and they will come charging at you. So they make it really hard. They make it really hard to get stuff done. And I just think that's really interesting to me. So I might, whenever I get done playing through all like the mission stories and all that, I might turn up the difficulty and see what I can do, see what I can accomplish.
I have a question though. What's the story look like for these games?
I mean, it's a little convoluted, but I actually really like it. You're just an assassin and you have a handler and you get these contracts, and usually they're for like bad people, like these people deserve to die, so don't feel bad about killing them. But then, the story kind of gets a little bit more complicated. You find out that the person giving you all of these contracts, has a very personal agenda, and without spoiling anything, there's a group of people that you basically go up against, and all of a sudden the game kind of turns into, hey, doing random contracts to basically, hey, we're going to try to hunt down all the members of this secret organization and take them out before they can take us out, kind of. So it's kind of like that.
My good buddy Devin, I probably told you this before, Colton, but like he got me into like really trying out these games because like he loves these games and how he's rewarded for like just like trying out new things with each level. And that one mansion level that I was telling you about, that is just a perfect example of like you can try this and you can probably do it. Like just like a chandelier up in the ceiling. Hey man, if the guy your objective's like right below there, you can shoot that down, run out of there, change your disguise, and that's one objective done.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite part of the game is just how goofy it is too. Sometimes
it is so goofy.
It's super funny.
There was a level I played recently where the guy you're trying to kill, his grandma died, or his mom died a couple months before, and apparently he's been having. You find out, once you dig through his stuff in his room, you find out he's been having like crazy hysteria, like he's been imagining her, like her ghost haunting him and stuff. So he's got like an observatory room where he like has a bunch of stuff. He has a what do they call him, like with the big long beak, a plague doctor. He's got like a plague doctor costume on display, and in the room he's got projectors and all this old timey stuff. And you can basically you go through his mom's room and you like move stuff around to make him think that his mother's ghost is trying to talk to him. And whenever you have him like really freaked out, you can steal a VHS tape that he thought he got rid of, put it in the projector, and then go hide in the room disguised as the plague doctor, like posing for like a photo shoot. But they think you're a mannequin, but you're like disguised as the plague doctor. And you turn on the projector, and all of a sudden he thinks his mom's ghost is haunting him. And it's really funny. As he's freaking out, you walk up behind him and you hit a button to assassinate him, and it like starts this cutscene where like all of a sudden it's black and white. And he's standing in front of the projector, like terrified. And all you see is the silhouette of him. And you see the silhouette of you walking up as the plague doctor and killing him. And there's blood splatter on the screen. And everything's black and white, but the red is like, or the blood is like bright red. Little stuff like that. It is so goofy. And it's fun to find that stuff, I think.
Yeah, all that stuff's good. All the like random dialogue is ridiculous too that people say. You're just like, what did they what is this?
Yeah, the best NPC comments I've ever come across have been in this game. I think
they're super funny. All right, Izayah, you're gonna close us out on our games here on Monster Hunter Rise, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, instead of hitting men in the video games, you hit monsters. That's right, you're a hit monster hunter. In this game, they have really built up on like the foundation world has made with the new generation of monster hunting. And a lot of like the things like that, you might have an issue with world with like, like running around and whatnot, and like just doing like more like attacks, like special abilities. Well, Rise brings a lot more to the table in terms of combat and momentum and like movement. First off, you now have a little buddy called a Palmoot. You have Palcos and you have Palmoots. Palcos help you assist in quests and find with like little tools they got and whatnot. But Palmoots, they do something a little different. They're more for what's the word? Like movement, for like getting from place to place. Basically, traversal. Yes, thank you. You can like really go from one side of the map to another side of the map without even teleporting, and it's just better and like more convenient. They have a thing called wire bugs, where you can use them for traversal as well, where you can just like Spider-Man from one spot to another, and then like literally like web swing kind of. And then like you have like webs like wire skills, where depending on your weapon, you have like two different skills where they can like either take up both wire bug meters or one that's like for me, I'm a hunting core main, so I have one that I can like take in one spot and like do a little breakdance to another spot and like do like 4 hits on a monster and does like good damage, or one where it's like a earth shaker, you do 1 strong damage, but it's like only gives you tough armor but not super, so you can still be hit out of it. But if you're cool with it and like you find like a good position to like prepare yourself to hit a monster, Earthshaker, do that and it'll just like knock them out like completely. It's very fun, and the gameplay rewards you for like trying to like integrate your wire bugs and those movements when needed. In fact, I have like replayed quests like with that. Another thing is that this is a portable game. This is for the Switch, right? Portable games for Monster Hunter work a little differently. With World, you have this like overarching story and like you have like a motive and whatnot, and Rise doesn't have much of like a big story to focus on. When you do like the normal like quests in the village, you only get about like 5 stars? I think 6 stars worth of quests, which are like different rankings. But it's not a lot of story. The real game is hidden behind like where the hub, where you can just do 7-star quests, like up to 7-star quests, and you learn more about like the actual things that go on about like the lore of the game, which is like this is a village and like rampages come about to try and like, I guess, just take it over because monsters are like spreading out more and more. The gameplay itself is honestly just so much fun. I'm really happy with this tile because it really does like build up from like World, the previous tile, in terms of like combat, movement, and whatnot. It's just with story wise, I felt myself feeling a little like sad because like I loved like just being involved with World story and like these like genuinely like intimidating monsters that you get to feel more for. Like they hype things up. They really give like a show. With Rise, it's poetic, but not too flashy as like World was.
Yeah, that's cool. I like what you said about all the like locomotion stuff, because I feel like the strength or a weakness of the older games, even before like World, was, you used to have to like run into different zones and they'd all have their own loading screens, and
too. Yep.
So just like traversing was probably the worst part of that game. So it's made me really interested to maybe jump back in once, I know it's already come out to PC and people are playing on Steam Deck or whatever, but there are rumors that there's going to be a Switch Pro. There's always that rumor.
There's always that rumor,
and
yeah.
Someone said that they saw Monster Hunter running at 60, which sounds like a rumor, but I can hope. But yeah, that's something I'd want to play portably still.
With Monster Hunter though, like with like Rise and like people hearing me talk about this, listeners, I will honestly like recommend Monster Hunter Rise to you as a first timer. Not a lot to like worry about. They have a great training area for you to like really get like used to like weapons you want to try out or weapons you want to main and whatnot. They have good quests that are like genuinely fun, that monsters will like bite back and like learn how you move about. And I should mention, with this game and like how movement and wire bugs work, you can tech in this game. And if you know what it means, it just means like if you get hit, you can probably like recover from that hit quicker. So teching, like, that's a thing. And monsters can adapt to that. Malzeno, the newest flagship monster in Sunbreak, literally can tech chase you and like catch you off your guard when you tech. So like you can be punished for trying to like get away. And it builds like this sort of like a mental strength for you, where it's like, okay, sometimes I need to like cool it, not rush things, and not try to like get away from the monster always. Sometimes I need to take the hit, fall, and just use the invincibility frames I have then to try and get back up.
Yeah. Yeah. That you forget that, this Capcom, they also made Street Fighter and Devil May Cry and stuff. So, a lot of that happens to come in Monster Hunter just in weird ways until you think about it. You're like, oh, like teching, that sounds like something you do in a fighting game, and it sounds like it's punishing you. It's just making those connections is cool.
Yeah,
but cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I think that will do it for our games. I haven't been looking at my timer here, but I'm sure we've had a lot to catch up on. So there's not going to be a middle segment on today's show. That was the main core of our segment. Because I was like, if we keep this going too much longer, there'll be games we'll forgot we have played. Like, I totally forgot that I played Rogue Legacy 2 until you guys started talking. I was like, oh, that might have been a game I would have talked more about if we had, E3 and our game club didn't happen. So
yeah, a lot of cool games y'all showed off today, like Loot River, Point B, Diablo.
Yeah.
Oh, for real, yeah. Like, these are some great games. I haven't been able to get like Diablo though. I have no space on my phone.
Yeah.
I'd love to though.
Yeah. It'll always be there. So we're going to move on to the last part of our podcast here, and that is our Fantasy Critic recap. And like our games, it has been probably a couple months since we've done this, and E3 happened, so we have picked up a ton of games.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a chunky list. This is a big boy list. So we're going to, just to remind you guys, this is on www.fantasycritic.games. Our league is Colton Gunner Green's Indecisive Acquaintances. And so let's just jump into it. So Dalton, his publisher is Lightbulb Limbo, and he picked up a Slime Rancher 2, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Digimon Survive, which just happened yesterday, and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time was pushed, so he dropped that. I was looking at Marvel's Midnight Suns for a bit there, and I was wondering who was going to pick it up because I wasn't brave enough.
I don't know what that is.
No, it looks...
Yeah, me neither. Wait, I think I do.
It's XCOM. It's like XCOM, but for Marvel.
Is it
a strategy game? Yeah,
it's like card-based now?
No, so looking more into it, people got scared off by the cards. It's not card-based per se. Like, there's some abilities that you pop. You use cards, but it is not like it's not all controlled by cards. Yeah, it is still way more like an XCOM type thing.
It's not permadeath now because, I mean, you're not going to kill off the heroes and stuff, I assume.
Yeah, no, probably not. For me, it was less mechanically and more just tonally. I was like, this is just like everyone has horns. It's like super edgy, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not feeling any of this.
The art direction's kind of off.
I'm already kind of Marvel fatigued, so when I see something that's kind of subpar Marvel, I'm even more just like, I think I'm good. But I mean, who knows?
I'm more interested in Digimon Survive, to be honest.
Yeah. What I will say about Midnight Suns is that like the XCOM games are highly rated and good, so that could still get a good rating for him. But personally, yeah, Digimon Survive, that was a good pickup. I didn't even think of that. Let's go on to Izayah, which his publisher's name is Nintendo. So he picked up Klonoa, which we'll go down to what that came out, so that scored. But he picked up Klonoa, Fantasy Reverie, and then Redfall and FF15 got pushed off his list. That's gotta hurt Izayah. FF15 I knew, that's why I voted against it. But Redfall was the one I was pretty surprised by.
I thought Final Fantasy felt closer than Redfall, so I would have picked Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Yeah.
And you still got five slots to fill.
Don't worry. I just took care of that a couple hours ago. Actually, my current bids are.
Well, don't just make sure you don't tell us.
We have spaces too. I am rife with cash.
So am I.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. So, and then next is me, Troy. My publisher is called People Knows Donuts. And right away, Forza Motorsport got pushed. Horizon did me good last year, so I was hoping that'd come through. And what I picked up the last couple weeks here was 2 Point Campus and the Deofield Chronicles, which is the Final Fantasy Tactics spiritual successor.
Those are both going to get 67 to 73.
No, 2 Point Hospital is a pretty highly rated game.
What do you think they get?
I looked it up. It got like an 86 or something, 87. Or maybe like 84.
Nah.
We'll see. That'll be next. That'll be next month.
I'm googling it.
The Deofield Chronicles is the one I'm a little
get an 84
about. Okay, yeah, exactly. We're to the point now where all the big games are picked up. So if you can get something you're pretty sure is going to get like an 80 or above, you should probably just pick it up.
I just didn't like 2 Point Hospital, so I didn't want to take 2 Point Campus.
Yeah. All right, Wilfredo, nothing happened on he filled up his list before any of us did. Nothing of his got dropped. So,
well, nothing of his is coming out either.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
he had one game come out. He had one game come out, which we'll get to.
His next game is live, I think, right?
Yeah, he does have a game coming up soon.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, next we got Colton Victoria, which they are the People's Publishers. And they counterpicked. They got their counterpick up. Whoa. Their second one. So goodbye Volcano High.
The Tumblr game.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took me. We were trying to figure out what to pick for our counterpick for so long, and for some reason I just kept skipping over that game, which I just do not like the look of. And I was like, oh my god, I have to counterpick that game.
There was a
art style bad. Yeah. But you did get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That demo really sold you. No, I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure that's going to do pretty good. That first one.
Man, I'm just trying to pick games that are going to get 80 and above.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Which I've been good about, except Wii Sports, which really screwed me on there. But
yeah, your next two, I think, were smart picks. I think it was good of you to drop Saints Row. Because I'm iffy that's going to get above an 80. But Callisto Protocol is honestly, I should have thought of that. I don't know why I didn't pick that up. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. All right. And last we have Josh. Or not last. Yes.
God,
Josh, Breath of the Wild 2 got pushed, which is a bummer. And then Josh went on a Target, walked into a Target or something.
Okay, hold on a second. See if Stars got pushed. So I was I got to get my indie fill.
And you got it.
I unleashed.
I bet Will is happy about Breath of the Wild getting pushed because he counterpicked that.
Yeah, he did. I thought it was brave. I thought for sure. I was like, what else does Nintendo have? Apparently they have enough. They have Bayonetta 3. That's what they have, actually.
Yeah.
But
that's me.
Who thought that was closer than Breath of the Wild 2?
I know, right?
I did because by the time he picked it, they did have a release window. I mean, they did say
so did Breath of the Wild.
I guess you're right, but it wasn't at the end of the year. Is the big thing. All right. So Breath of the Wild gone. So you picked up Bear and Breakfast, Cult of the Lamb, which I feel like those two are actually good picks. Cult of the Lamb is probably the one I was like, that's going to score pretty well, actually. Escape Academy, which just came out recently.
Got a decent score.
Curse to Golf, and I don't know what this is. Mineko's Night Market.
So this game, it's like a filler pick where I was just like, it's probably not coming out, but if it does, I think it's going to score high. It's got an amazing art style. It's more along the Animal Crossing vibes, stuff like that.
Got
it. That's cool.
So it might just be one of those you drop when we're like, hey, anything that's not announced.
It's basically I got one spot left for picks with that game, basically.
Yeah, so you're right. Okay, so and you got Pentiment, which is what again?
Obsidian's game. That's
that
really
medieval art style.
Interesting look. Yeah,
that looked cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I think those were good. yes, Forspoken got pushed and Sea of Stars. I think it's good that Forspoken got pushed because every time I saw that game, I'm like, it looks like it needs another few months.
Yeah, it's true.
So maybe when it finally comes out, it'll be in a good. The biggest thing for me is every time I see gameplay of that game, I'm like, that actually looks cool and fun. And then like a cutscene happens or someone talks, and I'm like, what is?
And you're not
quality like
I don't know.
Graphically nice, but the dialogue is like.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you finally. So you have a full list. Are you the only one with the full list?
I think
does
Wilfredo Will has a full list too. Okay. Yeah. Oh wait, no, he still has a counter pick. So no, I think you're the only one.
Josh, you do have a full list. Is Escape Academy your last one?
Calm down.
Pinning him.
Where's that extra spot now? No. All right. All right, and our last little section here is we'll go over just the release scores. So not a handful of games came out during this time. Summer is usually like a quieter period. So first of all, let's do Dalton. This came out today. I updated this today. The game's not even out, but all the reviews are in. So Stray got an 84.
Nice.
Got Dalton 14 points, which is solid.
And that's not so it locks it in after a week of being released, right?
It locks. Oh no! It can change. So as long as reviews are still coming in, it'll still change.
Oh really? I thought it.
Yeah. Okay. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think it locks it permanently.
It should.
Yeah. And then there's Klonoa Fantasy Reverie, which is Klonoa 1 and 2, like a remaster or remake, honestly. But that got Izayah a 78, and it rounds up, so he got 9 points out of that, which is fine. Yeah. Considering my Diablo review there. And then there's Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course, which got an 88, and I never doubted that one. That was just a solid pick.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Josh have already mentioned that this might be the last year we do DLC and expansions.
Aww.
Because I could just put, whatever the next FF14 expansion is, and that would be an automatic, like, a ton of points again. So, they're just a little too easy. You already know the quality of the game, so it feels like it's cheating a little bit, but it's fair in this year.
They could bomb on the DLC, so.
They could. But like I picked Endwalker last year knowing, and that ended up being the highest one. And I pretty much knew from the beginning, I'm like, this is going to score incredibly well. Because who else is going to play this game but the weebs that love this game? All right. Let's do Diablo Immortal, which got a 63, which gave me a whopping -7 points. Yeah, not great. But at least TMNT got me 87, which is exactly where I was hoping that game would be.
Yeah.
For Wilfredo, I keep saying every time, I'm like, I'm never going to pick a Mario sports game because I feel like it's burnt. It burns you every time.
This was the best chance, and they dropped
they dropped.
I mean, at least it got above it. But 73, 3 points. Next, we have Colton Victoria, which is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which is the Warriors game. And that got an 81, 11 points. Honestly, that's probably pretty high for what that game is. So, anything above an 80.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then we have Monster, for you, Josh, we have Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion there, and that is 88, 18 points. Again, you outbid me real hard on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Early on, I was like, I really wanted that one because,
I guess that's how it balances out, though, right? It's like we both knew it was like, this is going to score high, so I just spent a ton of money on it.
True. And we're hurting for games. I mean, I don't think we're going to hurt for games next year because they've all been delayed for 2 years.
That might make picking the expansion more interesting next year. Like,
I guess you're right.
Oh, really? You went for that?
We might keep it in then. I feel like next year's picks it's going to be a battle for everyone's first 2 picks.
Yeah.
Like, man, I have like 5 things. I'm like, well, if they pick this, I'll pick this. But if they pick this, I'll pick this,
Right.
Just off the top of my head, that's how crazy. And that's just like in the first 6 months of the year. So.
Yeah.
All right. And then last you got Escape Academy, which came out a few days ago, and that gave you a solid 80, so 10 points.
I would still like to play the game. It looks pretty cool.
I have it downloaded.
On Game Pass, everyone, so no reason not to. And
we just continue to advertise Game Pass to our listeners. Like, can't we just make that right thing?
Hey, save them money, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I did we mention Stray was free on PlayStation? Yeah, don't buy Stray. Get it free on upgrade it to your PlayStation. There you go.
Just don't buy Stray.
Don't buy it.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, by the way, don't buy
boring.
Stray. Get it for maybe free. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I don't really want to play that game. It looks a little boring at this point.
Yeah, I will see. It's it's a cat. It's I'm gonna play it, but
I love cats.
I don't like cats.
This game's not for you then. But all right. I think that covers today's game. So I just want to thank you all for going through that hefty list. And I feel like we've caught up to, we're ready to maybe talk more games. Well, no, we'll have a different episode next week that'll have a little bit different of a flair, but I'm glad to have caught up on all this. We got it off our chest. I didn't even type. I just saw, Josh, you had Elden Ring typed down, and I didn't even say anything about it. So quick, say your piece about it.
I've come around on it pretty hard. So
whoa.
I was really down on it before, so we can talk about it towards the end of the year, but yeah, I've come back around.
I actually saved that for next episode.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, cool. That was not what I was expecting to hear, so good to hear. Yeah, good game. All right. Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.